What's going on, y'all? I'm Czar, and in this video, I want to discuss a feature that I feel Studio One 7 has to have, and I want to talk about three things that I would like to see in Studio One 7. So we'll start this with the three things that I would want to see. Do I think these things are coming? These really aren't predictions. This is just what I personally would like to see in Studio One 7. And the first one is a refresh of the Fat Channel. Fat Channel has gotten a little dated, and I'd like to see some new compressors and EQs come in there. But more importantly, I think it'd be cool to add preamps into the Fat Channel. So this way we have a complete channel strip with a preamp, EQ, and compression, which I think will really be helpful for those like me who use a Revelator IO24, and just gives you another flavor that you can add with these preamps into your channel strip. Second thing is I'd like to see Studio One 7 cater more towards podcasters. Now, I don't think that there's a DAW that specifically caters towards podcasters, but I would like to see more tools or some tools for podcast editing and podcasters in Studio One. And I think that can really set them apart from other DAWs as far as podcast editing and podcasting. I mean, obviously you can record podcasts in any DAW, but after you record your podcast, when it comes to editing, there's a lot of third-party plugins that I use for editing my podcast, the Faders Up podcast. If I could do all of this in Studio One and Studio One hit some of those tools natively, I think that would be really nice, especially because sometimes when I'm editing my podcast, I do it on my laptop, which means that I'm away out the house. And I have Studio One on my laptop. I have not and will not put all my third-party plugins on the laptop. I've got a couple plugins on there, specifically the ones that I use for podcast editing. So if I can do all of that in Studio One without having to go through installing any third-party plugins, I would really like that. The third thing I'd like to see added in Studio One 7 is going to be the mix effects engines, or some new plugins for the mix effects engines. The Retro Legends is the last one that we've seen, and that was over 3 years ago now. And initially when this launched, there were some brands that were supposed to be collaborating with PreSonus to do these mix effects engines. I remember Softtube was one, which we have seen the tape plugin for Softtube is you can use that in mix effects engines. I think Slate was another one that was on the list, and we haven't seen anything from them. Not that I'm expecting to see that now at this point, but I would just like to see some new mix effects engines be added to Studio One. Certainly something that I feel is a underrated feature of Studio One, and something I don't believe other DAWs really have that feature. All right, so let's get into the feature that I feel that Studio One 7 has to have, and that is going to be a stem separator. We see this in a lot of other DAWs now. I feel like PreSonus has been behind on this, especially for a DAW that caters to music production. I definitely feel like they're late on this, and I'd be very surprised if we do not see a stem separator when we see Studio One 7 October 9th. If not, this first feature drop that they're talking about early 2025, I mean, it has to have that feature, especially with Logic just adding it recently. And like I said in my previous video, with Studio One Pro now going down to $199 for the perpetual license, that's going to directly compete with Logic at $199. And now you don't want to compete with another DAW that has features that you don't have. So I'd be very surprised if we don't get a stem separator. That's something that I feel Studio One 7 has to add. But definitely comment and let me know what y'all think. Comment, let me know what you think. Comment and let me know what you think Studio One 7 should have, and also let me know what you want to see in Studio One 7. All right, if you enjoyed this video, I appreciate a thumbs up. And if y'all want to continue to see content from me, then y'all know what to do.